Hi everyone. So in the previous video we created a user in ES and logged in as the user. So in this video we are going to show you how the user can create a project, create query, and also a data view. So let's first launch the organizer, which is basically a web start application. And it is a repository in the back end and user interface similar to like a file manager. Okay, so let's create a project which is essentially a folder in the organizer. Let's give this project or folder a name. QuickStart example, and then add some descriptions. This is optional, but it's very good to add some explanation as to what the project is all about. Next, let's open up this data registry manager. It comes with a sample data registry. Essentially, a data registry is where you have all the data sources available for you to make your reports. We support a whole range of different types of data sources, all the way from like databases to big data, Excel files, text files, even a Java program, and so on. Let's go ahead and add a new one. We need to give it a name, so the data registry, we'll call it QuickStart example. QuickStart sample. QuickStart sample. Okay. Next, in this new data registry, let's go ahead and add a database connection. So we support a whole range of databases, MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, DB2, and so on. For this example, let's choose HSQL, which is a small footprint local database bundled with the product. A sample HSQL database also comes with a product, so let's try to connect to it. Give it a name, wood view, and then the URL string. And then add the user login information. We'll leave the password blank. Let's go ahead and test connection. It looks like it's successful. Notice that we leave the default options intact. Next, let's add a query. So create a new query, and there are two ways to make queries. One is actually open up the query builder. The other one is you just type it in, essentially. Query 1 is, let's give it a name, So you can either like type your SQL statement in here or use the query builder. So let's go ahead and use the query builder to make a query. So you are given a list of the tables and views available. In this case, this database doesn't have views, but if there are, you'll be able to see them listed here. Let's pick a few tables, categories, customers, order details, orders, and products. And then pick several fields. Let's go ahead and get order ID, company, and region, categories of products, see product name, unit price of the products, and then quantity from the order or orders details. So we have added 7 fields, but we want to also make a computed column here. So let's go ahead and build this formula. All we need is the unit price from products table plus stain cost, order details. Actually, you want to add them up, so we put a plus sign there, and add parentheses, then multiply by quantity. Okay, so now you have a formula. Want to give it an alias. Let's call this sales. Alright, so you have a computed column here, and you can preview the data. This is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and save the query. So what we have is a query that just a plain query. You can look at the SQL statement. It looks like this, but you can also actually add parameters. So let's go ahead and do that. In the condition field here, let's open up the formula builder and add the parameters. Let's get the order date and say pick the keyword between, and then say parameter start date, and add the keyword and then another parameter and date. Hit OK. So what we have now is actually a query statement with 2 parameters. and when you try to preview it, you'll be prompted to initialize the parameter values. So let's go ahead and do that. It automatically show you, what you be able to map to in a database column. So this is exactly what we want, order date, and so the start date and end date both are mapped to order date. And as you can see, if I change the value, I'll be able to get the the result display in the datasheet view. So let me go ahead and hit done, and now I actually have a query that gives me prompts me for parameters. ES also supports the concept of data views. You can think of it as a local database view that you can define and essentially provide a business layer or meta layer on top of your database structure, so that when the user makes queries, they don't have to understand or know the underlying database structures. And of course, some of those database structures could be pretty complicated and cryptic. So this data view makes it a lot easier for users to make queries. So let's go ahead and create a data view. You'll be presented with the tables in the database, and you can go ahead and select the ones you want for the data view. So let me go ahead and pick the ones that I want to make for this example. Let me go ahead and pick customers, orders, order details, and products. You can click the joins tab and actually see how the tables are joined, and in fact, if you want, you can modify the joins, or if the database didn't have primary keys and foreign keys set up, you would have to manually join them. But in this case, the database already have the primary keys and foreign keys relationship set up, so it's joined automatically. So click OK to confirm the tables you have selected. Let's give the data view a name. Let's call it invoicing, and then start to pick the fields that we want for this data view. So let me go ahead and add these fields: company, contact name, address, city, state, and zip. And then for the orders table, let's take order date, ship date, ship to, ship address, city, state, and zip. And then move on to order details. And then move on to products. Let's get the product name, unit price, and stain price. So these fields on the right hand panel are basically pulled from 4 tables, and we want to organize them a little bit. So let's go ahead and add heading. Okay, so let's add something called customer info, and then another one, shipping info, and then one more called order info. So now we have 3 headings. As you can see, now we want to organize these fields under the right heading. Let's go ahead and select company, contact name, address, city, and state and zip, and then say group fields, and then we'll select the correct heading. Let's call this customer info. And now you can see that under customer info you have these 4 fields. Likewise, let's pick ship to info, ship address, city, state, zip, and date. So these 6 fields, make them go under shipping info. And lastly, the remaining fields, we want them to go under order info. So let's go ahead and select these fields, and then say group field under order info. So now we have these fields or columns from the 4 tables group, sort of, like in a more user-friendly way on the right hand side, and this would basically be used as data view for making queries. As you can see, these field names are pulled directly from the database columns. You can actually rename them if you like, and make them more readable. So let's go ahead and do that. At least say put a space, to make the names more legible. So let's do a few more of these. Say, for example, call it order ID, and say rename this to order date, and so on. So after we change the names, this would be what it looks like on the right hand side of the panel. Okay, let's save it, and now you have a data view that is ready for you to make a data view query. So let's go ahead and make a query, hit view, and pick several fields from order info. Let's pick order ID, order date, product name, unit price, quantity. Okay. and hit OK, and you see this query window. Go ahead and give a name. And you can see that these fields that we chose give you some options to play around, like do aggregation, show or not, conditions, and you can also look at the contents of each column. Let's go ahead and make a condition. So in date, for order date, let's build a put in some values for the date. So start date, and pick end date. So have a between clause in the query, and look at the SQL statement. You can see that it is generated with order conditions between two dates, and you can look at the result set, and basically you're ready to save it and run the query and use it in your report or chart. Let's cancel it, and later on you can use it for building reports or charts. So this basically concludes this section of the video. So let's go ahead. Okay, let's make a data view query. To make a data view query, let's hit view and then select several fields from order info. Let's see, order ID, order date, product name, unit price, and quantity. Hit OK, and you'll see a query window. So give it a name, Q query 1 or 2, and say ready for you to make queries.